right, so recap of the game. Um, Very disappointing game. You know, really slow start, offensively especially. You know, and just screwed up a ton of things ourselves, and some freak things happened too. You know, for the first time all year, whether it's in practice, a motion guy gets in the way of the snap, and on 4th and 1, that's usually Elijah doing it, and he was out. So that hadn't happened ever in practice or game with us this year or so, and left the ball down there another time with the missed call on communication on 4th and 1. So, I mean, all in all, I don't have it in front of me, but I think 7 turnovers, I think 4 not made, 4th downs, and left another one, and then the punt, roughing the punter, so whatever that is, we gave him the ball basically 12 times wherever it was, as opposed to punting the ball or scoring. That's not a very good formula. It's really shocking that we're even in the game, let alone have the ball with 3 minutes left with a chance to go win it. Is really, really crazy. A lot of that goes to our defense playing well and creating negative plays, and them screwing up on offense, similar to us at times, with the drop passes. And so game that you wish you could have back, but you don't. You got to learn from it. They did a great job defensively. They played really hard, and they gave us some problems. They dropped 8 every snap basically, and we forced a million throws in there. We had 6 and could have been 8. So I think surprising to all of us. With a team that through 3 games had turned the ball over once, the quarterback really hadn't thrown balls near an interception, 1 tip all year, and then do that, I would have never guessed that. So I don't think I've been a part of that before. So you got to learn from it and redo it. Obviously we should have been, if he was playing like that, more patient with the run. Because of how they were playing, they were not going to let us throw the ball to beat them, and it is what it is.
John, go ahead and start us off.
Lane, what have your conversations with Matt kind of been like since the game, and after looking at the film? What do you obviously 6 interceptions, but what else do you kind of want to see from him moving forward?
Well, I spoke to him immediately after the game. I think even before I talked to you guys, maybe. As soon as I got in there, after talking to the team, brought him in. Spoke to him. Then, obviously today, but yesterday too, he came in, and it was a bad film. Sometimes you just get bad luck. Balls are tipped and things like that. This was just, he played really poorly. They did a great job reading his eyes, and he was trying to do no-look passes where he's holding one guy off. Well, the problem is he can't see the other guy when he's doing that. That's something that you do every once in a while, especially when you're rolling out. But he'd got away with it the week before, and so I think he learned a lot from this. And we didn't play well around him for the first game. We had drops, a number of them, significant, including 4th down. So bad recipe.
Parrish, go ahead.
You mentioned Matt looking at his receivers, telegraphing passes. Is that a fix that's as easy as saying, hey, don't do that? Or is it more complex than that?
Well, you got to work on it, but at the same time, too, you got to get to the next. I mean, when did you ever see him check the ball down to the back? And I think once, and that was their game plan. They just sunk way back there. I mean, we had, I think, 10 3rd and 4 pluses and didn't make any. It's unheard of. So they did a great job. They said they weren't going to pressure him. They're just going to play deep and make you check the ball down, which we didn't do.
Go to David.
Lane, kind of flipping the page here with Matt Corral. How did you think he responded at practice this morning?
I thought he was good, upbeat. I think yesterday, I'm glad we didn't practice. He was not good yesterday, as you would expect. And so, went through a rough day yesterday, and embrace the suck. Yesterday sucked, and so we got to move forward and don't let one game beat you twice.
The next thing, it's been said Arkansas kind of laid a blueprint out for everybody in terms of dealing with the Ole Miss offense on Saturday. Does that put into the equation for you guys that you've got to add wrinkles, you've got to do things differently, you got to change some of the approach?
Yeah, I mean, they pay the defensive coordinators a lot in this conference for a reason. So, you can't just get away with what you're doing, and they're going to scheme you up. And, they did the same thing to Mississippi State, and Kentucky did it to State too, and so people will copycat it. So, we're going to have to run the ball better and work different things in the passing game.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
David kind of asked this, Lane, but just from a pure scheme perspective, are there things teams can do to pass against 8-man coverages in zone, or did they find something that you guys just don't have to fix?
Well, you got to run them out of it. So, there's always a weakness to everything, and so, we don't play very consistent up front, and we don't run the ball with consistency. We put 2 tight ends in the second half, and they struggled with that defensively, because they're outnumbered in there, and we were able to run the ball in the second half with that. So there's other formations and personnel you can go to, to help with that. But when people do that and play boxes like that, you gotta run them out of it, or else you get long days.
But have there been any additional COVID cases since last week, or have we contained it since Wednesday?
No, we got some more in the last 3 days, so it's becoming very challenging. As you guys probably did math and figured out, we had 2 starters out last week, so this is not easy, and especially when it, for whatever reason, continues to hit us on defense.
Is the issue more with contact tracing right now, or are they active cases?
Both. Yeah, both.
Go back to Parrish.
And I still don't understand how, if I get it and Adam's around me, I'm out for 10 days, Adam's out for 14 and can't test out of it. So that's what's really difficult, losing close contacts for 14 days that continue to test, negative.
You mentioned inconsistency on the offensive line. What can you do there to be better? I see that you guys are young at guard. I realize that. It looked like Ben was better with his snaps this week.
He was better with his snaps. We got to communicate better. There's too many times we don't go to the same guys, and so there's a guy unblocked, or 2 of us go to the same guy. So it's really basic stuff that we're struggling with, and especially when you just played a team that played one front the whole day, and don't block people on the goal line. So it's very frustrating, to be this far in the season for that to still be the case.
Go to Neil.
Hey, Lane, I was going to ask about something else, but you just mentioned that about the contact tracing. So I'm curious. Obviously, there was a lot in the news about Nick Saban being able to test out over 3 days, and the female soccer player at Texas A&M. Is there a reason your guys can't go through that process if they're testing negative?
Well, no, they can't. That's not the problem. The problem is the contact tracing. Those guys can't test out. So
Because they have to have a positive test.
yes, so they continue to test negative, but yet you can't bring them back for 14 days. So that to me is the part that's really frustrating, because schools have different rules to say, oh, I think you were around that guy. Oh, no, you weren't. So, I think some cases school A is going to play a guy when the exact same situation school B doesn't, and that's really frustrating.
Along those lines, you obviously had to play some different people defensively at Arkansas. You seemed right after the game pretty overall pleased with the defense. When you went back and looked at film and talked to defensive coaches, was that still the same assessment?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of playing better, getting more pressure on the quarterback. I think Arkansas would tell you, in their interviews, I'm sure that they feel like they left a lot of stuff out there too. They helped us, some drop passes and some missed assignments and, some tip throws and stuff. So I think it was a combination, and they would say they didn't play their best, and we did play better. Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to discuss that or not, so I probably shouldn't. But basically, we didn't, you know, have our mask on enough on the sideline, so which is challenging, you know, because you're trying to communicate with people and you're not used to it. And so I think I did a much better job and got a different type of mask that was more, you know, where it was harder to take off and instead of just sliding down. So hope I did a better job. Don't really feel like losing 200 grand.
Back to David.
Yeah, Lane, there's obviously been some questions asked about John Rice Plumlee and, you know, why you guys decided not to put him in the game when Matt was struggling Saturday, and I think you've answered those. But my question is, where does Kincaid Dent stack up in the quarterback hierarchy? Is he a viable option if the situation arises where Matt's not on the field for any reason?
Well, he's the third quarterback, and so, you know, that they don't get a lot of reps. And so, you know, we obviously thought about John. You know, it's easy to sit here and say now, obviously didn't think he was going to keep throwing interceptions, you know, and we're in a one score and was hoping that he'd pull out of it and drive us down and win the game. Obviously now you'd play John, you know, if you knew after 3 there were going to be 3 more. So, you know, he got a lot of reps today, and so we'll see.
Did those reps come with the first team offense today?
We don't get into that, David.
Gotcha.